Hey guys, this is Kisune101 from PlusEVPokerStrategy.com. This is my debut video, my first video for poker training I'm going to make, and I'm going to talk about pre-flop bet sizing. I started playing 200 no limit like last year, probably somewhere mid last year, I'm not too sure. And when I started playing it, my bet sizing that I used was 3 big blinds under the gun, 3 big blinds in a middle position, 3 big blinds cut off, and 2.5 at the button. But as my game developed, I changed my bet sizing to 2.5 in a cutoff and the 2 big blind on the button. So after a while now, I get some decent data. I wanted to go back and check and see how did change my bet sizing affect my game. So let's move on to Hold'em Manager 2 to check that out. As you can see here in my filter, this is 200 no limit. I'm on the button and I raise the 2 big blinds. I'm just gonna move the data from Hold'em Manager to an Excel sheet, so so you can actually compare the stats side by side. I'm gonna use EV big blind per 100 because it's just a little bit more accurate than just normal big blind per 100. A little bit not to bore you with keying in the data. For William Coco, I have to change the filter here. I already add a William Coco preferred range filter. Yeah, what I did here in Hold'em Manager 2 is in a ones filter, I put that William did not 3-bet and we saw the flop, so we don't have to cold call here. There's 621 hands. Doing simple maths, you get that William actually coco 28.27% of the time, and the amount of money when we saw flop is 110.83. For the amount we win when was this a 3-bet from William, we have to change our filter again. Just simply add a pre-flop. Sorry, this is not the right one. Simply add face preflop 3-bet true, and you get that I'm losing 93.37 big blind per 100. Mostly a function of folding. And now let's take a look at when I raise 2.5 instead. When I raise 2.5, I just have to change this and this 2.5, take this away, and yeah, skip forward again, and to simplify it, I just key in all the data that I gotten from my Hold'em Manager. I use the same method to get these 3 stats. As you can see, I got almost 3 times the data for raising 2.5 big blind, because I did this much early on and just recently changed to raising 2 big blinds on the button, but it doesn't really matter. So what can we tell from this analysis is, well, for one thing, I'm making more money raising 2 big blinds on the button, which is interesting. I was 3-bet 2% more, but I cold call and I 4-bet a little bit more too, probably as a result because I'm getting playback more. My aggression factor doesn't change at all, but I'm winning about 4% more pre-flop when I actually saw the flop. It might be a function that I'm running a little bit better, but I doubt it will make too big of a difference. This is a decent sample size in my opinion. Having 2,000 more hands is a decent sample size. What is most interesting here is that Whelan's actually calling 4% more than he was previously. And if you think about it, I'm raising two big blinds now, but my range have not changed. So when Whelan actually cold call 4% more, he's actually using a weaker range than he would if I raise 2.5 big blinds to play against my button range. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'm actually winning more money raising 2x and 2.5x. Another reason obviously is that you actually lose less money when you do get 3-bet. It's just as a function of folding, and that's already to be expected. And another interesting point I want to make here is that I read not a lot of books, but I read some poker books, and hear some poker coaches talk about loosening up on the button, opening more on the button, because it's like instant money. But the truth, if I raise two big blinds, I'm using 2 to win 1.5, and I need a 57% for equity to make it instant profitable. And if I am raising 2.5, I need 62.5% for equity to make it instant profitable. But as you can see here, that I was 3-bet 24% of the time, and when I wasn't 3-bet 24% of the time, I was called 28.27% of the time, which is a summation of 52.64%, as you can see at the bottom right here. So it's like 42.64%. And when I'm raising 2.5 big blinds, I was 3-bet 2.25% of the time, and Whelan called 24.28% of the time with a summation of 46.78% of time that Whelan actually played back. So I can see if Whelan is playing back around 53% of the time, Whelan is only folding like 47% of the time, and if Whelan is playing back 47% of the time, Whelan is only folding like 53% of the time. So as you can see here, that you're not getting the full equity you need to be raising for instant profit. That's I just don't think that's true. Raising any 2 on a button is instant profit is just it's just not true, as you can see here. That's just one interesting fact that I realized after doing this particular analysis. Now let's go on to the cutoff. There will be a moment I raise cutoff 2.5 big blinds, which is what I'm doing now, and I used to do 3 big blind last time. This is a very easy feature to change. Just change the cutoff, raise 2.5 big blinds. Alright. Decided to skip ahead again because it's just faster that way. What's interesting for the cutoff analysis is that when I raise 3 big blinds, I'm actually winning much more than when I was raising 2.5, which is weird. As expected, I am. Well, actually, this is pretty weird. I'm winning money, but I expected that when the money that I lost during when I get 3-bet is higher. When I raise 3 big blinds of 2.5, just a function of my bet sizing. When I fold, I lose less. What's interesting is that overall I'm winning. So what that means is probably a function of my post swap, and not it's not a function of the 3-bet pots, but it's probably a function of my post swap. Like even though I was 3-bet 4% more or 3.3% more when I raised 2.5 big blinds, it doesn't really matter because I'm 4-betting more here, so I think this kind of balances out itself. At the end of the day, I'm actually still making more money actually make money raising 2.5 in 3-bet pots. So it doesn't really matter that he's raising me more here. What matters more is, I think, in post flop. As you can see here, that it's possible that I'm running a little bit too good when I raise 3 big blinds, because you know my when showdown is like 51%. Sorry, my one money and showdown is like 51%, which is like a bit way too high in my opinion. Anything more than 50 is pretty too high. But I actually do think that's a function of when the money get in, because I'm only 4-betting like 40% of the time out of, you know, my whole cut of range. And what you can do here is, you know, just check when I actually do see the flop, what is my showdown percentage. So when Willian doesn't 3-bet, when I do see the flop, you can see that my when to showdown is actually, no sorry, my one money at showdown is only 48%, which is reasonable. So you know, I might be running a little bit better, but I don't think it matters that much in my opinion. What's most interesting, or more interesting in my opinion, is that my aggression factor differs here. So you know, yeah. So you know, to conclude the cut-off analysis, I think that the only reason I'm winning more money is that I'm more aggressive when I saw the flop. You know, so I'm actually winning almost twice the amount when I saw the flop. And I think for the button, it's a function of that 4% difference. You know, because as you can see the cutoff here, that Willian is not calling me any lighter than he is when I raise 2.5 or 3 big blinds. So the only thing that I can think of, the only logical conclusion I come, besides, you know, that I'm running a little bit better with this small sample size, is that I'm more aggressive post flop, and thus I end up winning actually more money. So in conclusion of my analysis, as you can see that pre-flop raising 2 big blinds on a button is actually better than raising 2.5 in general, because Willian is calling 4% more on average, and I'm winning much more money post flop because of that. Of course, you know, you lose less when Willian 3-betters, and that's just, you know, a function of our bet size, and where before we just lose less. Another very important thing to take away from this analysis is that button pre-flop does not equal to instant profit. You know, no two filler on a small blind and a big blind combined is folding more than 50% you. You know, that ain't gonna happen. Of course, there's gonna be possibility where there's, you know, 2 needs on a small blind and big blind, and raising any 2 might be instant profitable. But just in general, on average, that's just not true. From the cutoff analysis, even though, you know, when I raise 3 big blind, I actually make more money when I raise 2.5 big blind, but I think that might be a function of my post flop aggression, as I mentioned. So I will be continuing raising 2.5 big blind in the cutoff, but what I might change is my post flop aggression and be barreling more. Yeah, I just be barreling more in general. So with this analysis, I've, you know, my action plan for February will be to tighten up on the button. And you know, my thing, why would I want to tighten up on the button, right? Well, you know, if you see the data that is shown here, even though my button range does not change, Willian is calling more, is willing to call more, and is willing to 3-bet me more. What I do by tightening up my button range is, you know, so when every time Willian call, my equity versus his range increases. You know, now I'm opening about 50% on the button first in. You know, if I reduce it to maybe like 45% or maybe even 40%, depending on the situation, I believe that I can make much more money post flop versus my average opponent. And so I know I'll be experimenting on that on February. And my second action plan is to be more aggressive post flop, especially in the cutoff. I don't see like too much reason to be doing so much more when I raise 3 rather than raise 2.5, besides the fact that I'm more aggressive here. So I'll be trying to be more aggressive, see betting more often than not. So that's my conclusion for this training video on bet sizing. I hope you have learned something interesting for bet sizing in a cutoff and a button, and what bet sizing you should be using. I'll be playing about 40 or 50,000 hands in February. I mean, that's what I plan to do, and at the end of February I'll probably post out the results I post up another analysis based on this action plan and see what changed, and see whether I make more money or actually lose more money. I hope you enjoy the training video. Please subscribe to plusapokerstrategy.com, or please visit the site if you're watching this from YouTube. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.